A true forest mystery, told like it happened yesterday. It was a foggy morning when Mrs. Woolley rushed into the forest police station, totally shaken. Her eyes were wild, her basket empty, and her voice barely steady. My children, all 7 of them. I left them home for just an hour, and when I came back, the door was busted open. They were gone, completely gone. Detective Nate Tiger, sharp as ever, leaned forward behind his desk, calm but serious. "All right, ma'am," he said. "Let's find out what really happened." The scene at the house was a mess. Big paw prints in the dirt out back, a chunk of coal near the fireplace, and Flower hanging in the air like a whisper. First suspect? Ralph the Wolf. You know the type, slick, polite, always just a little too nice. He strolled into the station with that usual smug grin, wearing a coat too thick for the weather. "I was making carrot stew all morning," he said smoothly. "Alone?" asked the rabbit next door. But the rabbit hesitated. "He left the house, sure, but I never heard any cooking. Just some weird coughing. Like choking on flour kind of coughing." Meanwhile, Nate's team found chalk dust and spilled flour in Ralph's garden. When asked, Ralph just shrugged. "Flour? Could have blown over from Badger's bakery." Then he threw someone else under the bus. "You might want to check on Finn the fox. I saw him watching the sheep's place this morning. So they brought in Finn. Cool, calm, peeling an apple. I was picking berries for my mom. Squirrel was with me." Squirrel backed him up. "Mostly. Yeah, but he did vanish for a few minutes. Things were getting muddy. But then came the break. One of the officers found a broken wristwatch just outside a hidden cave, tucked under the roots of an old tree." Mrs. Woolley gasped. "That's Noah's. My son's." Ralph rolled his eyes. "A watch near a cave? Not exactly proof." Then a crow, yes, a crow, came through. He'd seen it from the sky, a tall, gray animal dragging a big sack into the cave. "Could have been Benny the dog," Ralph offered. "We're both gray, you know." But Benny had a rock-solid alibi. Now here's where it gets interesting. One of Nate's officers pointed out the coat. Heavy coat. "Warm day? Suspicious." Nate walked over. "Care if we take a look, Ralph?" Ralph sighed. Style's not a crime. But inside, a tiny brass key covered in flour. It fit the rusted padlock they'd found on a wooden door, covering the cave entrance. The whole thing was chained shut from the outside. "You didn't just stash them in there," Nate said quietly. "You locked them in." Ralph? Silent. Then a police dog came out of the cave with a torn stuffed toy in its mouth. And crumbs. From lamb food. The kind only Ralph sells. The team forced the cave door open, and there they were, all 7 lambs. Huddled behind sacks of hay. Scared. Dirty. Alive. Nate looked Ralph in the eyes. "Still think this was just a cooking day?" Ralph muttered. "I just wanted to scare them. Teach him to be careful." Nate shook his head. "That's not a lesson. That's kidnapping." Ralph was exiled to the far end of the forest, permanent surveillance. That night, Mrs. Woolley tucked her lambs into bed and whispered, "Never open the door, even if the voice sounds nice." Case closed. But Detective Nate? He's still watching. Moral: trust is precious. Once broken, it reveals who hides behind the mask of kindness.